G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do.
Well, hi folks, and welcome to Colour in Your Life again. Well, we are in the USA, we're in Pennsylvania, and we're in a beautiful town called Bellefonte, and we're actually at an art museum in Bellefonte, and it's an amazing place. And we're going to be working today with an amazingly talented lady, Brienne Brown. Brienne, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us. Now, the museum itself, where we're in right now, it's an amazing museum for a start.
Yeah.
But a really big supporter of the local arts community as well.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
They help the local artists out and bring in great art from everywhere.
Now, the museum itself actually has a number of different floors. It was really like an old home, I suppose you could say.
It is an old home.
Yeah.
And the director, Pat House, she turned it into the museum. And so there's a bunch of different rooms and galleries for local artists to show their work. I have exhibited here many times, and it's just a fantastic resource for artists.
Yeah, an amazing place. I mean, I would recommend anybody be in the Pennsylvania area and you're in Bellefonte, come along and have a look at the art museum. It really is beautiful. We're actually standing in a room at the moment where there's actually an exhibition going on right now.
Yeah.
So colour everywhere.
Colour everywhere.
They're not afraid of colour in Pennsylvania, I can see that. But yeah, and a beautiful town. I mean, Bellefonte itself, I mean, it's very quaint. I mean, the architecture goes back basically to the 1780s, 1790s, 1810s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty
this
amazing.
building was 1810, I believe.
Wow, it's incredible. So, well, what we're going to do, because I've got a ton of questions I want to ask Brienne today. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that she does, and it's amazing. We'll go back to the studio now. You've already done the sketches.
Yes.
We're going to head back to the studio, and we're going to work there for the rest of the day and see what this amazing lady creates. All right, Brienne, well, we've come back to your fabulous studio and you've got some great scenes of Bellefonte that you've actually sketched out.
Yeah, so I started with the pencils, what I did on site, and then I went and did a value painting just with Payne's Gray. So it gave me a practice of what the painting I'm going to do today.
But so where do we start from there then?
Okay, so to start with, I'm going to grab pools of paint. So, and I usually like to start with some version of a blue, red, and a yellow. So basically my primary colors. And I'm starting here with Cobalt Blue.
And you've got some pretty fabulous looking brushes there as well.
I use all different kinds. I always like mop quills. This one happens to be a Raphael, but I also use Princeton and Escoda brushes. I use Holbein and Daniel Smith. This one right here is one of my favorites. It's transparent yellow oxide. And then I will use a little bit of this transparent yellow lemon from Holbein for the greens in the grass area. So now I've got my separate pools, and then I'm gonna start off with, I'm not gonna make the sky pretty simple, and it's okay if it's dirty water. I love dirty water. So these are basically gonna be the clouds. I'm gonna go over this whole thing. I'm not worrying about shapes or objects yet. I am going to do the sky. I added a little bit of horizon blue, which is from Holbein, another of my favorite colors. And I'm just going to squirt as I move along to make sure that it keeps moving down and keeps changing.
Now you've got a pretty spectacular board there that you actually put together yourself.
Yes.
And it's actually on
Gator board.
Gator board. And you glue that down, but it's quite amazing because the problems that you have with watercolor is buckling for a start.
Right.
And this has got the aspects of watercolor paper that's not going to buckle.
Right, it stays completely flat. It doesn't warp at all. And I love it because I use this a lot for when I am plein air painting. So of course I'm not plein air painting today. I'm in my studio, but I wanted to showcase this because it just makes plein air so much fun and also pretty nice, you know, easy.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go here, changing some colors up. And I'm going through the shadow of the house, and then the whites I'm leaving behind. Now, because I've done this as the value painting before, I got to kind of practice it. So I already kind of knew where I wanted to, you know, have my whites. I used to say that you couldn't mess up this wash ever, but I found out, yes, you can.
What, the hard way?
And the way is just if you use too much pigment,
Okay.
then you can't go over it. I had a teacher once who taught me the analogy of paint consistency with watercolor. It's basically your ratio between pigment and water. And for this first wash, I basically use the consistency of tea. And then there's the consistency of coffee is the next, where you have a little more pigment, a little less water, and then you've got milk, which is like whole milk. And you've got cream, which is my favorite stage. And where my darks come in. You can't get it dark enough if you don't have enough pigment. And then after that is the butter. And that's straight out of the tube. And I like to, for every painting, I'm using that whole range of paint consistency.
So that wouldn't have been the wisdom of Joe's Bookvic, would it?
You know, I found out later that it was, and I didn't know that. So my teacher must have got it from him, but yeah, brilliant. It was eye-opening for me because it just all of a sudden it was like, whoa, yeah, that makes sense. Christopher Schenck was one of my favorite instructors. I learned a lot from him. And also Alvaro Castagne was fantastic to watch. But also some of my favorite historical artists are Hopper. Edward Hopper is one of my favorite. I love his design.
If we go back before you became a full-time artist, you actually got a master's degree in chemistry, Bachelor of Science, which is pretty amazing, and you were working as a toxicologist at one stage before you became an artist.
Yes, I worked in a toxicology lab and I would analyze samples for narcotics. Very different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah, but it was 10 years ago that you basically said, look, after you'd had the boys, and it's, I need to do this for myself.
Yeah, I found out in grad school that when I didn't have much time for art, that it was necessary in my life. And so I made it a priority and I started painting more and more. And then from there, as I showed my work, people started noticing.
And it really extends back a long way. I mean, your mum had a complaint that every time she saw you, you had paint on your clothes.
And you can see why as I'm splattering. Yes.
And there you are as a mature woman and an artist, and you're still doing it. So. I am. But you know, you were winning awards when you were a young girl, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I did, and it was just, you know, art really was a part of me in my life. Okay, so I'm going to go in now with some middle values and try to connect as many shapes as I can. So I'm going to get out pretty much the similar colors, but more pigment. So we're looking for coffee to milk consistency. Okay, this is a Princeton quill. It's great because it has they have a great point, but also still hold a lot of water.
They're a good brush. Now you're in a pretty advantageous situation in this area because there's just so much old world architecture around here, and there's these amazing stories that you can tell with your work, which is what you love doing.
Yes, I love telling stories.
Yeah, and you've got one piece called Antiques Bridge, which is obviously a walkway across the road there. Also, funny enough, where we are, Belfonte winter, and you can see the snow in the street, you can even see the coldness in the picture there, it's just great.
Like you said, I really like doing historical places, like this building we're doing today, which is from Belfont. But it's an old mill. I also like to look at the different angles. So I'm actually painting the backside. So a lot of times I will paint the different view that you wouldn't even think of, you know, as the side to paint.
Now you do tend to put characters into your pictures. There's part of that storytelling. And you got one piece called Discussing Grandpa's House. Yeah,
discussing what are we gonna do with Grandpa's house now, which we've all been there, you know? And so, yeah, I like to take places and scene and kind of imagine what people might be talking about. You know, and so these figures in my paintings, you know, become an important part of the painting itself.
Yes, there's a lot of emotion in what you do as well. There's a piece here that we were discussing before called Embraced with Memories. It's an unfortunate painting in the sense that the story behind that is that you unfortunately lost a baby girl a number of years ago called McKenna, which must have been devastating for you. But out of that tragedy, you created a fundraiser called Walking with McKenna.
Yes, yeah, I do an auction every year and a number of artists donate paintings to it, and then we auction them off, and the proceeds all go to a charity organization that helped me with McKenna during her lifetime.
That's
she
fantastic.
Lived for 7 weeks and had trisomy 18, a genetic defect. But as awful as that was, positive things came out of it, and I am grateful for that.
And you are an extraordinary mum, there's no two ways about it.
Well, my kids are definitely really important to me.
Yeah, 3 gorgeous boys.
Very active boys.
You do workshops all over the country now. You've become a really popular teacher. I mean, I first met you at the San Francisco Plein Air Convention. The crowds that you had around you, and you were very entertaining and very illuminating as well. And you're even off to Italy
Yes.
to do some workshops over there as well.
Yeah. My first time to do a workshop across the seas, so
That's wonderful.
pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Your workshops are pretty full, but if somebody wants to get in touch with you about either commissioning or purchasing your work, or wants to know about the workshop specifically, what is your website address?
My website is briennemBrown.com.
So go in and have a look at Brienne's work. I mean, it really is extraordinary work.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy teaching. I mean, it's an important part of what I do. I mean, I love to paint, but I love to share also my love of art and helping people realize that, you know, hey, it's a skill. You can do this.
Now that was pretty neat. You've got an easel there. It's called N Plein Air Pro. Looks like a pretty snazzy easel.
I love these easels for watercolor. You know, most easels are made for oil painters. You know, they're not as easy to put up and down, but for watercolor, it's nice to be able to, on the fly like that, change and adjust the angle of the paper. So the other reason why I like it is that I love the tray down here. It's just something I like. They have a side tray where I put all my stuff on. It's been great because a lot of times before I would just put it on the ground, you know, and so here I'm painting on site and I have all my stuff and crap all over me, where this way it's all just nice and there.
That's
and it
great.
just works great. So.
And you're an ambassador for the company as well?
Yes, yeah, definitely. They're a great company and they make good easels, nice and light, which means I can put it in my backpack and off I go.
And being in Pennsylvania, you have Amish and Mennonite people
Yes.
in this state as well, and you've got a piece called Farm Patterns. And I was noticing that a lot of the Amish farms are very, very much the same.
Yeah.
Obviously because they all help each other build their barns and build their houses.
Pennsylvania has lots of barns.
Yeah, well there's
And it's
Farmer John's place. That's
Yeah.
another great
That's
barn.
another
And they're
one.
very, I mean, American barns are very distinctive barns compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, there is a great sense of community spirit in this state, very much so.
Yes, there is. You know, I'm not originally from Pennsylvania, but since being here, people here are so great in pulling together. In fact, when we built my studio, we had a lot of the neighbors come over one day and do a barn raising. And they helped us put the members on and did the frame all in one day and the roof. So that was pretty cool.
That's great. And without a doubt, it is one of the best studios that I have seen in a long time. It's so well constructed. You have your office and you have a place to spray. You've got a spray booth in there, you ship. So it's it's a bit of a one-stop shop right in the one building. It really, really is a wonderful studio.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a community and family project,
Yeah.
which helps make everyone feel involved, and it's just been great.
You've got a piece called On the Road to Grandma's, and that whole painting leads you in just on that lightness in the foreground, but it leads you into the whole picture.
Yeah, I love doing snow scenes in watercolor because you're leaving that white of the snow. You know, watercolor is fun and hard that way, because you're painting the shadows instead of the light. You're painting around the light.
Now, over your illustrious career as well, you have won many awards. Many awards. I think that's a credit to your ability for a start to win the amount of awards that you have. Yeah,
I've been, I don't want to say lucky, because I know a lot of hard work goes into that, but you know, as I've been showing my work more and more, like I said, more and more people start to notice, and yeah, it's been great.
So it's really well done.
Thank you. I am a huge proponent of plein air because it has totally changed my work. When I first started plein air, I took a workshop from an artist, and he said, Brienne, you know, you have talent, but you need to get outside and paint. And I took him for his word, and he's right. Because when I get outside and do a study like this, for example, I have all the information I need. I've done it enough that I get the energy from being able to be quick, make decisions, and realize what works and what doesn't. And then when I come back to my studio, I can then be more thoughtful in how I'm going to make all the design things work. And I can also take this study and I can do it several times with different colors and different moods, but the structure is there. And so I find that it really helps me break down what's important about a painting.
Exactly. You also do online mentoring for artists, so that they can come in and talk to you about your experiences, the do's and the don'ts, and you also stream lessons out of your website as well, which is a great help for people.
So I have tutorials and demos available through openstudioonline.com. And then, yeah, I have a mentoring program where I can be much more personal and guide people through improving their art.
And I think that you're a perfect person for it, because you really have done extremely well with your career. So
thank you. Well, I am enjoying it for sure.
I bet.
And so now I'm just putting in the last little bits to kind of hear this man walking his dog. The techniques are all important to do in how you want to express yourself, but at the end of the day, you're expressing what you're feeling. Or at least that's what I think a lot of artists we're all trying to do. Okay, and we're just gonna do that.
It was done with great confidence.
Yeah. You notice that, you know, I'm not working off a photo here. I'm working off my memory and my study here, because at the end of the day, I'm just worried about the thing. Does it kind of give you that feeling of what's going on? I don't have to have everything exact. So these little details, you know, that I'm doing, they're important for the painting, and a lot of times you want to get right to it, but they're not. The structure of the painting was done a while ago. This is a fun brush. This is Princeton. They have long rounds, which is a little different shape, and a really, really fine point of their, I think this is the Elite. It's a great brush. Gets nice fine lines, so I'm just gonna grab a whole bunch of dark and use my sketchbook to kind of get out some of the paint. So these telephone poles have these great lines that are down here, and I love the different shapes it makes, and so it really doesn't matter how perfect they are, but just the fact that you get them in.
Just a suggestion sometimes.
Yep, just a suggestion. Here and there you see lines, but what do these lines do? They kind of help tie the whole thing together, and also help to, again, break up the space like I was talking about earlier. And there was also a great line that came from the mill right up to there. So what does that do? That helps to, again, connect it. Last bit is my highlights. So, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of gouache.
This is the cream or the butter?
This is the butter.
Okay.
Used sparingly. And it just helps to, and I don't use it for everything. So gouache, I do use white gouache. I don't use it for big areas like the whole house or anything, but I just use it straight out of the tube and just put some highlights on this guy, and it helped bring him out. Help just pop him out a little further, and this little dog too.
So they're just coming into the sunlight.
Yep. That's all you need, a suggestion. Don't want to get too crazy with it, but it just helps pop him out a little more.
Sure.
And then I will do my accent. I use different opaques. One of my favorites to use is this Horizon Blue. You'll see it in a lot of my paintings because a lot of my paintings actually they're toned down, they're grays. And so these bits of bright color help to pop out those grays and to help them become more luminescent. And why it works, I can't really even tell you, but Sargent used to do it. If you've noticed some of his watercolors, he'll have these bits of bright opaque paint, and it just helps the whole painting to sing. And I can't tell you, there's not a mathematical, where do I put it? Where don't I put it?
It's instinctual.
I put it where I like it.
Sure.
Yeah, and if I don't like it, I can always take a little water and just wash it out. Yeah, and I think I'm pretty much done. So then I would just sign it with my accent color. And I think we'll put it right here.
Well, Brienne, that was an absolutely fantastic day with you. It was such a pleasure to be in your wonderful studio and to witness your amazing talent. It really was exceptional, and you're an amazing teacher. Great stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and this has been great. I enjoy being in Color in Your Life.
Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, guys, fantastic day, Brienne. Thank you so much for having us in your studio. It is a wonderful studio. Love these boards as well. I think it's great. Now, if somebody wants to come in and do your lessons and workshops, how do they get in touch with you?
They can do it on briennembrown.com or also openstudioonline.com.
Fantastic. And you can come and see us in colouryourlife.com.au. We have had a fantastic time in Pennsylvania. The people are just wonderful. And remember,
happy painting.
And also remember, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you again next time, guys. Bye now. See ya.